you're right. There's no blood. There's no blood. Good God, man, there's no blood. Good God, there's no blood. Good God.
Good God. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Taylor, and today we are diving into a reading update.
Yep.
And we're sharing some, DNF. There's a book that I'm not even going to start.
But I have.
That you have started, and you're
Yeah.
probably part of the reason I'm not going to start it.
Forewarning.
And then some other things that we've been reading, some plans for things I want to read for the month of May.
I'm going to talk about
duration of the month of May.
big chunk of books I've finished. One of the best books I've ever finished.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to dedicate a whole video to just that book.
I will on Patreon.
Yeah, that's good.
Which, speaking of which, is the book she's not going to start, but we'll talk about in a little bit.
We got a book club over on Patreon for this book that's a non-starter for me, but I think you will probably love. And we're going to talk more about it, but there's more content over on Patreon.
Yeah.
Fun. Like,
On the couch
I got a
content.
new series over there called On the Couch, and I'm hooked. I'm completely hooked. I mean, you've got, listen. You got a stiff in the very first chapter. You got a stiff, like there's a dead body in the first chapter. It's a great way to support the channel, and we appreciate you guys for it. So you can find that link down below, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Okay, you ready to get into this?
I'm ready.
This, I'm drinking by Rishi, Greek mountain tea, and it is very oregano forward. Like,
cool. You sure you didn't just put oregano in a bag? And
no, I mean, you'd think that I
it?
did, but I did not. And it's really good.
Yeah.
It does. It's really good though. I like it. All right, do you want me to start?
Sure.
Or were you ready to go?
No, you go.
So when we do this, we start with done and dusted books that we've finished, and then we have bookmarked books that we're currently reading.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll pull out a quote of the day. Sometimes we'll have compelling pickups, books that we've recently picked up, which I actually have one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't start because I don't have a done and dusted.
Okay, but I mean, kind of you do, but I do.
What do I kind of do?
Well, you're done and dusted.
Okay, no, I'll start then. Let's go ahead and start with a done and dusted, but this is not a done and dusted in the sense of a traditional done and dusted. This is a DNF.
Yeah.
I started this book, I think,
last week
since our last video. I don't even think I talked about this on the last
you didn't. It was last week because you made a video for Patreon.
Yeah, I did the Patreon video about it, but I didn't talk about it here on the channel.
No.
And that is Some Danger Involved by Will Thomas. Now, this is a book that follows the lead inquiry agent, who is, Cyrus Barker, and his assistant, who is by the last name of Llewellyn, Thomas Llewellyn. It's really coming down out there.
We got
you might hear rain outside.
Desert rainy day today.
Yeah, it's lovely. Anyway, it's a very much a Sherlock Holmes kind of Watson dynamic, except there's less eccentricity with Cyrus Barker. The characters are kind of dry.
Right, you were saying.
Yeah, like he definitely fits into the Sherlock Holmes type archetype minus the eccentricity. Thomas Llewellyn's kind of quiet. He doesn't really have a very forward move. Like he's not very profound, at least not in this first book, which sometimes it takes time. He has his own little like sob story and all of that, which is, interesting, but I just feel like not only the plot of the mystery in this was dry, the characters are just kind of dry. I don't even know if it's that they're two-dimensional, one-dimensional, whatever.
Right. It just wasn't hitting
It wasn't hitting for me, but like I said in the On the Couch series, it is a good one if you're a classic Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes fan. It fits into that genre really nicely. I feel like that's Will Thomas's goal here, and I think he's really hitting it on the mark. But I'm not a big Sir Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes fan. I think they're kind of dry.
Yeah.
Like I said in that video, I think it's a great archetype. I like the Cumberbatch
the BBC
version,
one.
absolutely. But I'm just kind of a fair weather Sherlock Holmes fan. So I'm DNFing this because it just wasn't doing anything for me. But if you like that kind of mystery, this takes place, I want to say this is when does this take place? Victorian. This is Victorian London. If you like that time period, give it a try. Yeah. Because it's a series.
Cool. Yeah, there's like, 4 or 5?
There's several. There's more than 5.
Okay.
There's several. So you might actually find that this is something for you. So I DNF'd it, but not because it's a bad book. It's just not for me.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. So that's my first, done and dusted.
Cool.
What do you got?
All right. My first done and dusted was a done and dusted. It was a audiobook, but we have the physical book because you read it. All Systems Read, the first book in the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. For me, I felt like what it was lacking was just any kind of like action. Anytime the action was about to happen, you pan away. You go away to something else, or you come back after he's reset or whatever. Interesting character, interesting story. I'm into it. I think that maybe the other books you get more into who the Murderbot is or what his story is and his background. Maybe from what you've told me, you kind of get a sense of that. And I know that there's another character or a robot or a droid or something that comes into play in the next book,
Right.
that everyone says is pretty funny. But this one, I liked it. I will probably listen or read the second one. We have it. But it just was lacking any kind of like, there was like setup, but no like follow through for me. Like no finish to the finish to the action. You get like lead up and then all of a sudden it just is kind of pulled away from you. Even the final like ultimate ending of this was really kind of like, oh, I felt like fizzled out.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite of the sci-fi kind of like space stories, but I'm going to read the second one.
I don't know if it's like, I didn't feel that it was a sci-fi space story like to be compared to some of these other ones out there that are almost like, I don't know, like space opera
Right.
types. I think it's more of a character.
Yeah, no, I get
portrayal.
that.
So
Because
you
it
get-
is a novella. It's only under
Yeah,
200
I think
pages,
it's
right?
more about like the character of Murderbot and how his dynamic with these other people, and then you have like the conflict and all of these things that are going on in their world as like an underpinning,
Right.
almost as a way to tell his story or whatever. And the next one goes a little bit deeper in that, and you get additional characters. It's just very much like character driven. But I know what you mean, because I felt like what you were hoping for in terms of like action is not really present. So it's not an action packed.
Yeah, it's not an action
book at
packed
all.
thing. You get like a lead up. You know, you're kind of like, you think you're going to get the payoff. You don't end up getting the
Right.
payoff you were expecting. At least I didn't.
Right.
So, all right. My next done and dusted
Yep.
is Stephen King, The Body, which is a little novella that was part of a collection of short stories called Different Seasons, which included the story of Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
But this one is a separate standalone now, The Body. And this, if you've seen Stand By Me, the movie, this is what that movie is based off of,
Right.
The Body. And I've seen Stand By Me, I don't know how many dozen times, and I loved it. And so I was wondering how the book is. It's amazing. If not better, they're on par to me. This is a coming of age story. It's a story about young friendship and kind of like, understanding, how life changes and how friends you make at a certain age. You have to decide, are you going to let them pull you down? Or are you going to kind of let yourself grow? And there's like kind of that underpinning there. But if you've seen Stand By Me, then you know kind of what the main point of this is, and it hits. And even though you've seen it, there's stuff in here that makes it a little bit different and is also more impactful in certain ways. I enjoyed it, had fun, and it's really short. It's only like 179 pages, so you fly through it.
You mentioned how it's like you have to decide who your friends are so that your friends don't bring you down. I got that. You have River Phoenix's character.
Yeah.
He
Chris.
kind of acknowledges that Gordy is going places and he has
Yes,
the
that's
potential for bringing him down. So it's almost
Yeah.
more along the lines of being aware of where your friends are and what their trajectory is, and deciding whether or not you want to go along with that despite your own limitations and risk bringing them down, or if you think that you should go
Yeah.
your own way.
And I will say, because you caused me to remember this, where Stand By Me, the movie, kind of ends with them at that corner and kind of does that like 80s, 90s, or like the narrator kind of talks about where
everybody went, yeah.
This happens in this book, but in a far better way. You get more concrete understanding of where these people went and what happened to them and why. And the relationship between Chris Chambers, River Phoenix's character, and Gordy, you really get solidified in here at the end, and it's heartbreaking but also very touching.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. This is a book I think as the boys get older, I would want them to read for just understanding their friendships will kind of help them progress into adulthood. So yeah, really fun, really good. Enjoyed that. And then we got one more.
Yeah.
But this one took me about almost a month to finish because it's a big
Well, 'cause
boy.
it's huge.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it took you less than a month.
Yeah, but it's Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry.
Yep.
And I've been you hear it all the time. This book is great, amazing. I've brought it up before. You've brought it up in videos too. Everyone in the comments always says, oh, it's one of my favorite books. This book just knocks out of the park. It's I told you, it's kind of a rambling story, but in such a good way. These characters, you ramble along with them in the 1800s, Texas plains, and the way McMurtry weaves these character stories together and brings them back. You go off and you come back around. It's wonderful. The dialogue is great. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's heart-wrenching. It's a gut punch at times. And then it ends and you're just like, I like it, but I want more.
Yeah.
And I wish there was more to it, even though there's a
next
second,
one.
but it does carry on from where this goes. And then there's 2 other ones after that. They take place before. I do plan on eventually reading those, but at some other point, I'm gonna let this one breathe. This is definitely, now that I've read it, I can see everyone's praise for it. It is definitely one of my top books of all time. I have to add that the edition I read, this first edition book club version from 1986, is in such bad shape already from water damage and stuff, but it somehow added to the experience of reading it. It has a smell to it. There's, the crinkle of the pages.
Yeah.
It felt like I was on the ranch or on the trail with them as I read it.
See the water damage.
Yeah, there's stains and some of the pages were stuck together a little bit. But yeah, if you haven't read it, you definitely should. I know Taylor wants to read it, and I want her to read it because I think I really want to watch the miniseries.
Sure.
So yeah, that
came out the year that this version, this one is this first edition.
It's like a first edition of the book club.
It came out the year you were born.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, I don't have anything done, but I wanted to mention that. Well, okay. For our book club, I don't have it with me.
Oh, here.
You have it? So this is one of your bookmarks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess you could have just talked about it with the bookmark.
It's okay.
Well, do you want to do that then?
No, you go ahead and start.
This is the book club book for the month of May for the book, the Patreon.
It was our nonfiction month.
This is the one, for nonfiction, this is the one that was picked. It is a memoir / true crime, what do you call that? Just nonfiction, telling of this particular author's obsessive search for the Golden State Killer. I've been reading some things about this book, and then you were telling me some things about it that it really kind of makes you feel uneasy, the home invasion stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's uncomfortable. And I'm not going to say I'm not one to turn away from a book for things that make me uncomfortable. There are certain things I don't want to read about. And as I learn more about what is in this book, I don't know if I want to read it.
And I totally understand it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I've been reading it for the last few days, and most of the time I'm reading it at night when I'm in bed. And definitely, you'll turn off the lights to go to bed, and I'll still be reading. And it's so dark, and it's kind of talking about like a guy who breaks into people's homes in the middle of the night, and I'm always like looking over the book.
I don't need that. I don't need
so
that
I can definitely
kind
see
of...
it. Somebody else in our Patreon said they had the DNF because it just triggered a lot of things.
I read that this morning, and
another person said they're probably not going to start it either because of the similar reasons. So
yeah, I'm not into that kind of thing. And it's because I'm home. I work from home, so it's just weird. And I know that it's true crime and it's all this kind of stuff, but I can listen to a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
But once it starts getting real in the weeds about things, I start to become, it starts to be a little too...
It's too close to home.
Yeah, it's just a little too real, I guess. And so I don't know if I'm going to embark on that. So because I'm not going to read that, which maybe what I'll do is before I go and say what I'm planning on reading for May, you might as well just go ahead and say what you think about it.
So I'm enjoying it. It's really well written. The author, Michelle McNamara, she did pass away unexpectedly before finishing the book. And so there are chapters where it's like the people who took over were like, hey, this chapter is kind of put together from her notes or her notebook or other parts of her writing that she's published. And so you get that kind of like interesting look into it. It is part memoir. You get to hear her kind of background into true crime, but it's really well done. It's written really well. But it is definitely one that like you gotta have the stomach for, or also just the mentality to be able to kind of like separate it. That said, people who are in our book club for Patreon have read it and finished it, and they did it like quickly because they said for them it was one of those things that they just could not put down, and I can totally see that. It's not a very long book in terms of like nonfiction. It's pretty good length, and it's not. Well,
there's pictures and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm compelled. It's definitely a little nervy because of the home invasion stuff and all of that. So this isn't, and we also have different technology, better home alarm systems and things like that. And also the reason he probably wasn't caught at all. And I don't know if he has been caught or because I think he has, but not really.
Yeah, he's been incarcerated, hasn't he? Yeah,
Really?
his name is Joseph James D'Angelo.
Oh, you're gonna ruin it for me.
What are you talking about? You didn't know who the killer was?
No.
This is like, yeah, because he was caught.
I know, but I
think that
haven't
was
gotten to that.
Oh, I know that, but it's been like in the news since way before.
Oh, okay.
I thought you would have known that who he was and even seen a picture.
No, I didn't even research
Wow.
any of
Yeah,
that.
see, I knew who he was.
Oh,
like
okay.
I'd seen.
Yeah, so I was
his
kind of like
name.
letting myself be like pulled along on this.
Didn't know that you weren't aware. NPR put out a thing in 2022. Golden State Killer investigator Paul Holes reflects on his career. Yeah, veteran cold case investigator Paul Holes spent decades working California crime scenes. Well, he played a critical role in identifying former police officer Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. as the so-called Golden State Killer.
Cool. I kind of knew that he was caught. I just didn't know who he was or anything about him. So that.
Well, I don't know anything about him. That's just his name.
Well, yeah, but you just also told me he's a former police officer. I'm still gonna read it, even though now I know who the killer is. But it is interesting reading.
Is our marriage on the rocks now?
No, but I would recommend it if you're into true crime and can stomach it a little bit better. I know Taylor and others are a little sensitive to that. So, and I like I said, when I read it at night after we go to bed tonight, she turns off the light before me. And I'm reading with my book light.
He's over there crinkling this library binding next to me.
Yeah, I know. Which is what I'll talk about that later. Go ahead and move into what you're not going to read. What you're going to read for May instead of this.
Okay, so I have a stack of books that I need to read. That have been kind of starting to build.
Just on the borderline of finished.
Well, yeah, like I've been talking to you guys about this, like MIA, the Lies of Locke Lamora that I need to finish. And look, this is a really good book, and I really need to finish it. Look how far.
Yeah, you're like 75%
Screw
of the way.
percentages, you can see it. It's almost finished. And then I've got the memoir by Shirley Jackson called Life Among the Savages. This book is fantastic. This one's just so much fun to read. I'm over halfway. That one. And then I have Rogue Protocol, which is another Murderbot Diaries.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm about a third of the way through this. I kind of, like I said in the couch video, I feel like I'm just losing interest.
Right.
For a lot of the same reasons that you were saying that one felt anticlimactic for you. I'm getting kind of to the point where, okay, like, I guess I want to know what the backstory is to this character, but then, like, I don't know if I really care. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air about this, and so I don't know if that's going to be one I read in May, but it's something I'm considering. Yeah. And then I need to finish, again, like, screw percentages. You can just see where my bookmark is. Like this is People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami. This is a collection of short stories. You guys, Goodreads says I'm 98% done. I've got like 4 short stories left.
That, like,
I could go do
while
this.
we finish this
I could
episode.
do this right now. You finish the episode. I'll come back and report.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't finished that. And then Bryce, my brother-in-law, in the last live video over on Patreon, recommended that I check out the book Old Country.
Yeah.
It's a spooky book. And I like spooky things. I really do like spooky things.
Oh, yeah.
If they are, like, paranormal in nature, maybe, I'm not a big, like, the I'll Be Gone in the Dark, like, home invasion.
True.
Sometimes things like that just are too real. Yeah. And it's like,
it's understandable.
I don't know. Especially because women are, primarily the ones getting offed in books like this. Yeah. So it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not as into that kind of thing, but I'll go with a paranormal book and cozy whatever. And so he was saying that this one was good. I looked it up. People say it's incredibly creepy. Yeah. And it sounds like right down my alley. It's called Old Country. Did I even say the title?
You did. Who's it by? It's by brothers, right? Old
Country by Matt and Harrison Carey. They apparently, it says, based on the Reddit sensation, a horror thriller of a young couple who buy the perfect secluded house only to discover the terror within. Yeah. And The Guardian says it's a classic supernatural horror made freshly compelling with believable characters and perfect pacing and almost impossible to put down. And I just thought, this sounds like something that would be cozy to read for the month of May. So I want to start this. Yeah. But
have you mentioned that one?
Oh no! This is bookmarked.
Yeah, I know.
I forgot my bookmark.
It's okay. Well, you were kind of talking about you got bookmarks and all these too.
I'm gonna finish this up. So yeah, for May, this is my plan: is to knock out these. Yeah. Because these ones are pretty much all I finished. Yeah. And then Old Country. Okay, yeah, I got a bookmark. So when I decided I was gonna DNF the Will Thomas book, I realized like I still want some really nice period time period, British
Detective
mystery kind of thing. And so I decided, well, maybe the Victorian era is not going to do it for me this time around. So I'm going to head to the Regency period, which is where C.S. Harris has her Sebastian St. Cyr.
C.S. Harris is a woman?
Yeah, pull your head in here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. She is a woman. Okay. And this is her Sebastian St. Cyr mystery series. You got me the first in this series, and I read it almost exactly a year ago, and I loved it. And so I pulled this off the shelf when I realized that one wasn't going to work out, cracked it open.
Yeah, last night.
Got right into it, right back into it. There was a dead body within the first couple of, not chapters, pages, and it just started slapping.
Yeah, what better way?
And I'm only like, if it's already slapping and I'm 30 pages in.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So this is what I'm reading. It's great. It's the main character in this is not a detective or an investigator. He just happens to get himself pulled into these situations where it is in his best interest to figure out who the killer is before other people do. Okay? And he's clever and handsome and all of that.
Cool.
So that's what I'm reading. That's my bookmarked. Okay. And I guess my compelling pickup as well was Old Country.
Yeah.
That was my compelling pickup. Did you?
I don't have a compelling pickup. I'm going to talk about, so I mentioned that you're
What is that?
I'll tell you. Yeah, I crinkle in this book at night.
Yeah.
So to kind of combat that, I'll continue reading this.
I got freaked out.
But I won't read it in bed anymore. So have another book to read in bed before I fall asleep.
What is that?
This is a novel by James Slater. It's only 200 pages long. Salter, sorry. It's called A Sport and a Pastime. It was one that I think like Thrift Books recommended I might want to look at. And so I had a free Thrift Books credit. And so I just picked it up.
They were going to charge for that?
Yeah. I think it was like $6.
$6 for that?
What? It's a classic. This was from like 1967.
It's like kind of beat up, huh?
A little bit.
It's okay. I'm just gonna constantly be giving you garbage about your.
Yeah. No. So James Slater, A Sport and a Pastime.
His name's Salter.
Salter. Sorry, I keep. What's the guy?
James Slater. You think of James Spader.
A Sport and a Pastime is the story of a love affair observed, of real and imagined passion in bourgeois France, and Anne Marie Castellant, a village shop girl, and Philip Dean, a Yale dropout. So it's kind of like a romance in France.
What part of France? What kind of France?
Bourgeois. Yeah. So I don't know.
You can hang out in your boudoir in the bourgeois.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I can fly through this, and it doesn't sound like it's gonna be crinkly at night when I'm reading it.
I know. It's just probably the smell will keep me up. No, I'm kidding. I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're reading I'll Be Gone in the Dark. My question is what am I going to do during the live videos when all of you guys are talking about the book? I'll just sit there and ask you guys questions.
Yeah, you'll be the moderator.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, if you want to get in part of that, it's only beginning of May, so you can still read it. It's our month of May book. So the live will be at the end of the month to discuss that book.
I'm wondering if we should come up with like an alternative books for the babies in the group.
Oh, you can read whatever nonfiction you want.
Yeah, we can have our own little club.
But if you want to be a part of that, we're thinking about doing it as a Zoom.
Oh yes, the next live is actually going to be a Zoom where we can all participate. If you're into that,
but you got to be a part of the Patreon to be a part of that.
Yes, you do, and you don't have to have your camera on. And also, I will say, and this is really important, when we say book club, some people hear book club and they think that you have to be critical of the book and you have to have really smart things you have to say and all this kind of analysis. No.
Most time we're just there to read it
and then hang out and shoot the breeze
and then eat like crackers.
Eat like croissants. Not like we do. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but we are not over here being like sophisticated book analyzers.
We'll ask some questions.
Sometimes we ask questions. We get into it, but it's all for fun. It's fun times. If you want to join a real nice casual book club, you got to join us.
Yeah.
It's a good time. But that's all I've got. Do you have any quote of the days?
I don't. I
feel like I have one
already. All right. I mean, I probably could scrounge one up, but I don't have it like ready to go. So
I feel like there was something in here that I can't. If you give me a minute, I will.
Yeah, you're fine.
You know what it was? It wasn't a quote. It was like, it was something that really just emphasizes the style of these books. We're talking England.
Yeah.
Okay. The Regency period. So that was when Prince George, right? Yeah. Was Prince. I think it was Prince George is Prince Regent, right? Because his father is incapable. Yes, I don't know. But anyway, there's this part right here where somebody goes, "The dagger was well aimed. It would have pierced her heart. Wounds of that nature typically bleed profusely." And the guy by the name of Jarvis goes, "Good God!" said Jarvis, his gaze lifting from the young Marchioness's livid bare back to Sebastian's face. You're right! There's no blood!
Wow.
It's just, good God.
Good God.
Good God, man, there's no blood!
Is that how you read it in your head? Yeah.
I'm surprised. You know what? I read these books. I'm surprised you don't hear me. You have to hear me because I don't read completely silently. I don't.
I know
because
you
it keeps me like going. I like to read with an accent. I was watching. There was a video that the guy in Australia, the Asian guy who does like talks about what's his name? Oh my gosh, Walden. And I think he has a video where he talks about how to stay awake when you're reading it. I think it's about reading kind of out loud. No, I'm sitting over here and I read aloud, but it's so quiet. But it's because I want to hear these people. Because, I mean, with a line like that, like, good God, there's no blood. You have to read that. So, I just got to read it. Even at night when I'm, like, not sleeping, when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
It's just so
great.
good. It's just so good.
All right.
That's all we got for today, guys.
That's it.
You don't have any quotes?
No.
Nothing
Got nothing today.
Nothing good like that?
No. But yeah, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up.
Definitely subscribe.
Comment.
For more.
Have you read
Comment
any of
down below.
these? What are your thoughts on true crime hitting too close to home?
Share this video with some friends that might like BookTube videos.
Yeah. Or, you think should be reading more.
Yeah. We might motivate them. All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.